Greetings, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you have subscribed and you have been part of this journey, thank you very much. And if you haven't subscribed, please do consider to subscribe. Today, it's a holiday in South Africa, the 1st of May. It's a day which we call Workers' Day. I know that if I'm not mistaken, it's a day that is internationally recognized as Labor Day. It is the day that we started to celebrate in South Africa, calling it Workers' Day, and recognized since 1994 after our democratic election. The reason why we celebrate this day is to recognize workers' rights due to the role that workers played in the liberation of our people, Black people in particular in South Africa, the role that workers played in the fight against apartheid. We do not want to take it for granted. Now the question is, having explained that, talking about that celebration, these workers' rights are even recognized in our constitution. For example, when we look at section 13 of the constitution, it says that no one may be subjected to slavery, servitude, or forced labor. So this is something that can never happen in South Africa because of what the constitution says. No slavery, no servitude, no forced labor. So when you go to work, it's something that you do voluntarily. You cannot be forced. And because there's no slavery, you cannot work for free. Though, in my view, there is still slavery in quotation, because there are so many people in this country who work and the pay or the salary that they get is not proportional to the amount of work that they put in. This is despite progressive legislation that has been enacted in this country to avoid that situation. When you look at section 23 of the constitution as well, it talks to labor rights or labor relations, and it states that everyone has the right to fair labor practices. Yes, fair labor practices. So these are some of the things that workers should be protected from. And I'll continue to ask, is there something to celebrate in South Africa? When I look at stats in 2022, that's the latest stats that I could access, 7.88 million South Africans were unemployed last year. 7.88 million. It may be more. It may actually be more, but that's what I got from Google as I was doing my research in an attempt to check how far we are with unemployment rates in South Africa. But they may be very high. I don't know why I suspect that this may not be accurate, but as I say, I got it from Google. But there are too many people who are unemployed in South Africa. That is why you have some cases of xenophobic incidents where people feel that, we're struggling with jobs. But on the other hand, we have people from other countries coming in and taking our jobs. I'm not saying this is justified. The behavior, the xenophobic behavior is not justified. But there are a lot of factors that makes the situation worse. So if you are unemployed, I know it's not easy. I know it's challenging. Keep on keeping on. My advice in this situation is to say, yes, you are unemployed, but start something small. Do something. Don't sit there for many years and wait for somebody to employ you, because it may never happen. I know of a guy who is a multimillionaire today. Many years ago, he started a business of selling fat cakes. And that business has turned that guy into a multimillionaire. I know of a guy in Soweto, South Africa, who received a grant of 350 rands. And he took this grant. He did not eat the money. He did not eat the seed. He took the grant and he started a small business. And today that business is growing and growing and growing. And if you are somebody who can help, please do help. Help with a grant. I know that the government also gives some grants, but is in some instances, these grants, they don't reach everybody. They usually say, teach a person how to fish. Don't give them a fish. I've realized after many years that it is true that if you want to empower a person, teach them how to fish. Don't give them a fish. Because if you continue to give a person a fish, by a fish, I mean if you give a person an allowance every month, that may not be helpful because it means that this person will continually be reliant on you. But if you give them that money and start a business, even if it's small, you are empowering them. You are giving them back their independence. They no longer continue to be dependent on you. That's one way of helping people. Because you know what? Having an employment or a business is very, very important for somebody's livelihood. Somebody once told me that when he was going through seminary training, he was told that when you counsel somebody who is divorced, somebody who has lost a loved one, and somebody who has lost a job, you must give them the same level of attention because of the emotional impact of history. They are rated on the same level. Loss of job, divorce, death. That's how serious it is. Some people, they even kill themselves because they don't have a job. Otherwise, how are you going to survive if you don't have a job? You don't have a business. That is why, because of the high rate of unemployment in South Africa, I'm asking this question, is there a reason to celebrate? What are we celebrating? Who is celebrating? Because even those who are working, they have a burden of carrying people on their shoulders in their families. Because there are instances where it's only one person in the family who is employed. And this person has to carry everybody else in their shoulders. Now, when I was thinking about this issue, I was thinking about those who have a job. How do we carry ourselves? How do we conduct business? I've seen people who have a job today in South Africa. For this entire message, I'm talking about my experience as a South African. Maybe you are listening to it in another country. You may relate to it. And if you relate to this message, please leave a comment. Because there are some people who have a job, they don't even appreciate it. They are not even grateful. They are not even grateful to the one who has given them the job. They are not even grateful to God. That is why it is said that we must always count our blessings. Because, sometimes you'll spend the rest of your days, your months, your years saying, complaining about this job, never having a moment to pause and say, Lord, thank you. Thank you for the job. I'm unemployed and somebody who is unemployed. If we can just learn to count our blessings and to appreciate. And this reminded me of Colossians chapter 3, verses 23 to 24, which reads as follows. Whatever you do whatever you do, actually, work at it. Like we're talking about Workers' Day. We are talking about Workers' Day. So this scripture says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart. So if you have a job, I don't know what is it that you are doing, but whatever it is, that you do, work at it with all your heart. Don't drag your feet. Don't be complaining. Don't be dodging. Don't be cutting corners. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance. So if you are at work, if you work, whatever job that you are doing, work at it as if you are working for the Lord. You know why? Don't work at it as if you are working for your human masters, because the Lord is always there. He is looking at how you are doing that job. The master may not be there sometimes, but God is an omnipresent God. He is present. He's looking at you. So when you have a job, work hard, work excellently, work professionally, keep time, be professional. You know, they say there is nothing that beats excellence. And when you work excellently, when you work hard, when you work professionally, there may be somebody who is looking. There may be somebody who is looking. You will never know who is looking. You'll never know. You know, I once worked with this woman who was my boss. And at one stage, he got another job somewhere. And he recruited me because he knew of my work ethic. That's the word that I was looking for. Because he was aware of my work ethic. He wanted me to come and work with her. This is somebody who was my boss at another company. Well, it never happened like that because I never received that offer. But you know, when you work hard, there's nothing that beats excellence, the spirit of excellence. You know, sometimes we talk about racism in the workplace, even racism, even sexism can never ever beat excellence, because you're working at that which you are doing. You are working as unto the Lord. You are working, you know what, when you work as unto the Lord, when you do it as unto the Lord, when you work as if you are working for the Lord, you work as if there's somebody looking at you all the time. And that is the Lord, because he's omnipresent. He is looking at you. So when you work as if you are working for the Lord, not for a human master, because the Lord is watching you. And obviously, the Bible continues to say, since you know that you will receive an inheritance. You know, there are instances where sometimes you can be working and you feel like, I work so hard, but my salary is not proportional to what I put in. My advice to you as a believer, continue to work and work hard. For as long as that door has been open for you to get that job, work hard, because there will be an inheritance. You may not be getting a satisfactory salary or pay where you are at the moment, but the God who rewards will reward you. Who knows, in the near future, because of the experience and the hard work and the excellence with which you have worked in that work, you will get your next appointment, which will triple what you are in there. Because believe you me, it is God who rewards. And God has a way of closing the gap. So I want to talk to those who are unemployed. Take heart and don't spend the rest of your life waiting for an employment. Do something, start small. Just that little amount that will enable you to start that small business. I know it may even be difficult to get it, but when you get it, grab that opportunity. You may be a multi-millionaire in waiting. You'll never know. I know of a guy who owns a chain of shops in South Africa, which I will not name now. I'm told this guy was fired from his job and he started this one shop. And this one shop is in every corner of South Africa. So you'll never know. Maybe your calling is not even in working. So to those who are working, work hard and have compassion to those who may not have the blessing of a job that you have.